Hi guys, you're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and I've been trying to do this video for a while. I want to make Yule ornaments for my Nordic island pine that I got that's an indoor tree that's living, and that will continue to live. As I said in other videos, I showed you some of the beautiful... These are parts of the tree itself. It's a very beautiful tree. And then we did some fresh cranberry and then dried juniper berry trimmings for the tree. And I kind of am allowed to have complete creative ability with the tree this year. We're making things for it especially. We really want to promote that on the channel and everything. So happy Yule to everyone. That's, just such a beautiful time of year even before it's actually happening. I want to also tell you kind of what's going on the floor here. I've got some, tradition. I wanted to make a Yule goat ornament because as we've said in the video where we talked about, where we talked about Odin and Santa Claus and Saint Nick, and briefly we talked about the Yule goat in there, but I've been learning more about that. So let's take a reverse. Right now we have Santa Claus. And before that it was called Saint Nick or Father Christmas, and that came from an actual person. But before that, it was the gift-giving tradition was men dressing up with a face, like a mask made to look like a goat. Out of, like straw or corn husks or whatever they had that, they could make it look like that. Maybe sugar cane, perhaps. And then they would go around and give gifts to the children of the villages. And that was the tradition. And that, I believe, happened on December 6th, which is fun because that was yesterday. So anyway, people make Yule goats, and as you know, we used to have 3 goats and now we have 2, and Maggie is with us in spirit this year. Oh my goodness, Maggie, our goat that passed away about a month and a half ago, I think now. So definitely in spirit of Maggie, I'll be making Yule goats. Something bad happened in the kitchen, something fell. Now generally Yule goats are made out of straw. I have a big bag of straw here. But it's all really small, and there's no long strands of pieces like if you would grow in the ground. So I thought that would be really hard to manipulate, especially for a video that we're trying to keep in like a half an hour or less. So instead of using traditional straw, I'm going to be using some corn husks that I blessed out in the moonlight and I sat with and meditated with for these to become some Yule ornaments. And I also want to make a broom out of it. So I kind of blessed that in with the intentions of what I wanted. Now I'm going to tip you down a little bit and show you what I've got going on down here for us to start. Okay, so let's of course start by cleansing the area yourself, lighting a candle. And I would suggest you turn on some music, but lately it distracts me, so I gotta be able to focus for you guys. So a little bit of Florida water for me. Even on my feet. Okay, light a candle. Ask Spirit to join us. Spirit guides, be with us. Maggie, be with us in this moment as we make this ornament to celebrate the traditions of Yule, the Yule goat, everything it means. So mote it be. There we are. Okay. This candle gets drippy sometimes, so I gotta watch it. Alright, now let's get started. So you want to turn on your teapot, your kettle. I've got mine plugged in. You guys know I'm in love with this Capresso brand kettle. I always put blessings on this so it doesn't break. It doesn't take too long to heat up, but it doesn't get it to an extreme heat or anything. And then I'm going to put the corn husks, in order to manipulate them. You can certainly manipulate them as is, And you know what? While we get this soaking, I'm going to manipulate some as is just so we can play with it together. These would be really cool to make. We're going to be making corn doll babies out of them. You know, after you soak them, you can make this the head. You break it and make arms and legs. You could write petitions on them. You could safely get your cauldron, your candle, burn some petitions on some smaller corn husks like this. Write out some petitions on some you stripped off. Light them. Burn them in the cauldron. You can do that with bay leaves. You can do that with corn husks. You know, just look at the herb and what the magical properties of are for it. Look up what the magical properties of it are. And then you can enhance your petition by placing those words on that herb. I'm sorry I didn't do my nails before this. They look pretty bad, so I apologize for that. Someone asked about my cauldron. It's really big. Do you guys see how big it is? I got it for $100 at a local metaphysical shop. And something else, see how quickly that's heating up? Can you hear it? Something else I do is I take the cauldron and I put it right in my waistband of my pants, and it like helps with cramping if you have any like stomach issues, or you know, ladies, it helps with cramping, whatever. Okay, so that's some cauldron info, I suppose. So yeah, we're going to soak some of these so that we can make some Yule goat ornaments, and they're so pretty. Other things you need to have besides this is some red embroidery floss. Thank you, Brenda. Red embroidery floss. Here's my embroidery floss. Okay. Get some embroidery floss. Traditionally, red is used, and I'm getting low on red, so that's not great, but... Okay, so this is done. It's hot. Woo! And I don't know exactly how much water you need to put in. This is my first time doing this, and I totally suggest... Like, this is scary for me to make a video and never have ever done this before and just show you guys, like, this is me trying, you know? And I just so suggest that you guys do the same thing, and then when it succeeds, make videos of it. Tell us about it in the community. What have ya. So I have this in a special bowl that Juckshy Farms made. So my loving husband made that for me, and that's super special. I'm just going to put all this water in. Oh, come on, Stan. It was getting a little splashy there. Alright, so, you know, teapot. Alright, so maybe I'll put in a little bit more. Because I want to make 3. One for Maggie, one for Zara, and one for Rosemary. Those are the name of our goats. And I don't know how much corn husk it will take, but we'll see. So this water isn't boiling hot. It's really nice and hot, but I guess that's kind of the bummer about that teapot, if you like boiling hot drinks. But for me, you can use this in crafting and witchcraft because you're able to touch the water directly after. So just kind of get that in there so that it's all soaking. Maybe the ones that are under, that have been down there for a while, maybe flip them every once in a while. And I don't know how long you're supposed to soak these for. These are actually, I got these in a Witchcraft International Market video where they were just a $1 bag of corn husks. Actually starting to smell like Abuela's Kitchen, like some really beautiful, because these are for tamales. I mean, it smells like food in here now. Okay, so yeah, that's probably enough. You definitely want the water to be covering as much as possible and flip them every now and again. So we're going to let those soak and then we'll talk, chit-chat. We'll sort out the red thread. We'll keep the dry ones to the side, all that. Would really like to know if you guys have ever done DIYs on Yule goats especially, or any kind of, if you've celebrated any Yule traditions with the goat. All of that. I'm so interested. And so here, if you don't exactly have dark red thread, Like, look, this dark orange is going to totally be okay. This one is red, and then these ones are dark orange. It's, you know, it's alright. But and then there's a maroon I suppose you could use. But bright red is what I've seen traditionally used, like that bright color crayon red. So I'm going to have to make it work with this, unless I've got some ribbons. All these drawers up here, you guys, are all, like, art crafting stuff that I've got. So let's see if I've got red ribbon. I've got brown ribbon. I usually put this on my Christmas tree. I love to have random things on my Christmas tree when I had a Christmas tree before, but this year we're doing a special Yule tree, so I'm even more excited for that. I don't think I'm going to find red ribbon. Alright, so we've got to make it work with what we've got. So we plan on making 3 goats. We have 3 things of string. I'm going to give these 2 colors for the living goats and then Maggie the dark red one. And that's just how I feel about what I should do. If you didn't have red, I don't know, you could use red rubber bands. You could take apart a red sweater. You could cut apart a red t-shirt. Okay, if you have a red t-shirt, cut it apart. T-shirt makes great manipulating strips. And it won't it bends and it's flexible. You could tie that around it. That's a great idea. That would be even more fun because it was a part of you for so long. Something that you loved. So now see, it's in a fashion that you can manipulate it. So I'm assuming that we're going to make these and then we're going to and then we're going to put them in the dehydrator or on my clothespin rack. Alright, I need to get some paper towel or towel. I'll be back. Grab a cup of tea. I'm back. Okay, so I've got some paper towels, a plate, because these are wet and I, wasn't thinking about that straight off. So basically from what I've seen of them, maybe I should draw it on the paper. They look like that, and you braid the horns with this, and then you make a body with this, and then you put some red, like wherever you bind the ties. Here, the tail's usually red, these are usually red, red around the body, wherever you bind it, there's some red. So it ends out kind of looking like this. And the blue part is hay and the red part is ties. Okay, so I've never done this. Please forgive me if this takes a long time or it becomes 2 videos, because again, I encourage you to try new things. Okay, let's make the, I don't know, we could braid the horns first. I've not watched a DIY video on how to do this. I looked for some, but I couldn't find any. So that's my honesty there. I just wanted to see how a few people did it, and then kind of go my own way with it. That's what I normally do. But I couldn't find any DIYs. So that was a bummer. But it's okay. That means I have to do complete creative ability by looking at something and then going, I can create from that. And if you can become that kind of artist, you're doing really well for yourself. So I'm gonna, and I'm on the floor here because this is totally my natural crafting environment. I don't have a desk in this house. My desks are all taken with altars and witchcraft stuff and whatnot. So I work on the floor a lot when I do art, and I think a lot of artists do that as well. When you tie these knots, think of, right now this one's for Maggie, this is the dark red. I'm thinking of Maggie, how she blessed our lives, how important she was to us. And every time I tie that knot, I'm tying in, I'm trying to give my love to her spirit. Maggie, hear me when I tell you how much we loved you, girl. Alright, so now that's tied. And you can kind of braid it into these horns, I'm hoping. Can you see what I'm doing? And you guys, when I should have said when I ran off to do that thing, you should look up a picture of these Yule goat ornaments. But if you Google search Yule goat ornaments, you'll see that they have these braided horns. So I'm starting with that for some reason. That's cool. I just go with the flow, always. You could braid these colors in if you wanted it to be beautiful. I'm going to tie them around later, or I might need them to tie something together, so I'm going to leave them loose for now. So make 2 of those, okay? Then get some more string and tie that braid at the bottom. I use my mouth when I craft, it's true. And if you don't have someone to like put your finger down and help you hold, it's difficult. Give me your finger, you guys. I got it. So make 2 horns. Those didn't take too long to soak to manipulate. I think I may have heard somewhere let them soak an hour. So if you feel like yours aren't manipulating well, you could give that a try. Let them soak longer. Tying in with this cord magic, some love to Maggie. Maggie, we loved you so much. I hope you like your spot you're buried. She's buried in the most beautiful sunshine spot. So we'll make 2 of those. Let's try and kind of make the body real quick. I might just accordion it to make a thick body. Like that. Do you see how I accordioned it kind of like a fan? To make maybe a thick goat body. And I take 2 of those and do the same thing. Kind of pat them dry first a little bit so they don't mold in the dehydrator. There's no chance of that. In the dehydrator, you're not going to have a mold issue if you keep them in for, you know, a day or two for sure. So just to make it so that one end's not pointing, one end's not straight, I'm going to put them opposite each other so that now it just makes one big thick kind of body. And they are still pretty wet, so I'm going to get some paper towels and just soak that off. You're only getting them wet, again, to manipulate them to the shape you want and so they don't break. For corn dolls, you'll definitely have to do this wet process, but for these actually, let's try and do one. Nah, it might break if you braided it. Let's give it a try though. See, we're all brand new at this. Let's see if this works. If you try to braid it dry, it'll kind of turn out like this. So I understand now why we wet it to manipulate it. Makes a lot of sense. It was worth a try though. That would have saved a lot of time. Wouldn't have to dehydrate it if you could manipulate it dry. Okay, so there's our body. Let's cut this. I'm not promising that this will end up being pretty, just so you know. I will tighten up the edges and, what do you call it, like, make it better later on. Maybe I should get a lower view for you guys. Sorry. There, that's much better, I'm sure. So I'm just tying the body together somewhere kind of like near the end, but not all the way, maybe an inch away. So that maybe it has a little tail on its backside. And this is probably going to be a head, right? Because, so, let's leave more on this side for the head. A bigger, maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches. You can always cut more away. $23, for Christ's sakes. Okay, well, there's going to be a part 2. But, we'll get as much as we can in 30 minutes, come back for a part 2. Where, on part 2, I'll have made another one of these. And, let's just get one leg made, and you guys will make 4 more. So, I've made one of these. You guys need to make 2. I've made the body. Here's the head, it's a little bigger. Here's the tail, it's a little smaller. This is about 1.5 inches. This is about 1 inch. You make one body, make 2 of these. We're going to make a leg together, and you need to make 4 of them all together. 4 legs. And then I will have done that on my own in between videos, and when we come back, we'll put it all together for an ornament, okay? Alright, so make sure you have lots of paper towels if you have hardwood floors. You don't want to get all wet in the cracks and whatnot. So yeah, really squeeze that water out of there. And legs. Oh, you know what you could do? You could write things on the inside of this before you wrapped it up so that the words weren't showing in here, but it said something inside like, I love you, Maggie, or a note to Maggie, the passed away goat that we have. Or just, you know, thank you to all the gods that provide us the lovely people in the world, or, you know, any kind of, like, gratitudes you could write in here. I think that would be beautiful. Okay, let's make one leg together. And I feel like these pointy parts at the bottom would be a good, which are actually at the top, would be a good point to the leg. So let's just, in the legs we're going to do a twist on. Like that, as tight as we can, and then do a tie at each end. And see, that makes a cute little foot for the goat right there. Goats are such beautiful animals. I've really enjoyed having them. Alex bonds with them a lot more than I do, but they're so sweet. And lately, they love to eat saltine crackers. And when they hear the cracker paper, like, okay, the crackers come in this crinkly paper. When they hear that, they're like, oh, they'll freak out and start running. They're so cute. So, I twisted it just so that it would be tight, and now it's nice and tight. Now we just tie a tie at the top, and the goat legs, probably you just want to have 4 of them. They're going to be about that long-ish, you know. So, cut that about there, because I don't know how much we'll need to tie onto the body exactly, like, because we're going to need to hitch it onto the body somehow. So, there we go. And you guys, if it does not look like the ornaments that you see online and that you see in pictures or that you've seen traditionally, then it's okay, because it's the way that you made it creatively, and that's super, the intent in that is really beautiful, and I don't think that you should negate that. So yeah. Yes, yes, yes. DIYs, they're really fun. I always feel like I should be talking more, but then when I talk more, it takes longer. However, I think when I do these projects just naturally without the camera on, you know, normally I'm either listening to music or watching a movie, like kind of listening to a movie or something that I love that might be in the spirit of what I'm doing. So here, we'll make 4 legs in total, 1 body, 2 horns, and we're probably going to need to mold and manipulate a face. So, yeah, we're at 28 minutes, so we'll come back to do that. You guys, thanks for joining me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, for part 1 of our beautiful, darling, delicious Yule goat ornament for our Yule tree trimming. Alright, I will see you back.